guys, how's it going? We're here for day 4 of pond installation. The pond has actually been installed. It is done and it is the most glorious thing, you guys. I'm loving it. We all sat around here last night and just chatted and enjoyed it. The kids got in and swam. It transports you. It feels like you're actually in the mountains. It's just amazing. But today we're going to be working on some finishing touches. So Joe and Jenny from Nature's Waterscapes in Southern California, they drove up all day yesterday from Southern California to Eastern Oregon with a car full of the most beautiful pond plants. I'm so excited to show you. Jenny's going to take us through repotting a bunch of them. So it's going to be an education for me. I know nothing really about pond plants, so this is a whole new realm that I'm going to be learning, and hopefully we are able to share some tidbits with you guys as well. And then we're going to head to Idaho Oasis in Boise, and we're going to be picking up some koi to put in here. So it's just kind of like the last little bit. While we're working on that, I think Paul's going to be working on getting all the plants dripped, drip irrigation, and we're going to hopefully get some things mulched so we can give you just like this beautiful, pristine end shot. Although I'm not sure how you can improve this, because it's just so absolutely gorgeous. Brian, I love it so much.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah,
It's so beautiful.
It is. I got out here early. The light was just behind that tree, so it was kind of like filtered through.
Well, and that picture you sent of the lights last night,
The night lights.
Added bonus with the lights kind of hitting some of the trees.
Yeah, it's like
and
they were
stuff.
uplit. It's just perfection.
Yeah,
I love
so
it.
good.
There's nothing, I wouldn't change a single thing about it. Not a single thing.
And like I said yesterday, it's really good when these guys are still pulling out their cameras.
That's true. Yeah.
Because they see ponds every single day, and
Right.
they're still like, ooh, I really like this pond. And Alan was like, I love that waterfall. I just love that waterfall. I like the wetland, I like the little nooks, and I think what's nice about it is every time you come out here, you discover something different with it, right?
Yes. Are you ready for this? I'm so excited.
It's been a lot of planning, but I'm just setting up our table, with all of the aquatic stuff.
Oh,
So
good.
we're gonna repot a lily, which is something everyone should do every single year.
Okay.
And so one of the challenges that I have on my vlogs, Greg was like the pond guy, I go out and visit ponds, is people kind of put the water lilies in and then forget about it because they're self-watering. So it kind of, they are hard to kill, but it's a good idea because they get root bound every year to replant them, to add new soil because the soil gets absorbed by the roots, to add fertilizer on a regular basis, and then you can get so much more plant growth. You can get so much more blooms. And so it's frustrating to me to see some incredible ponds with some anemic water lilies because they're root bound.
Sure.
They're not transplanted every year. So every spring is a great time when you're doing a spring clean out to transplant your plants, fertilize them, add new soil.
Awesome. Should I show the lily right over here?
Yes.
Should I show it?
What it should look like, yes, and what they typically look like.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So this is a foxfire. This is about as big as you're going to ever see on a lily pad because it was properly fertilized and taken care of. And then look at this. This is a night bloomer. So here we are at 8:30 in the morning, and it usually starts blooming around 9 o'clock at night. It blooms until about 10 a.m. the next morning.
Oh my goodness.
But Laura, this is really cool. We have one of your plants is going to be that ruffle.
Yes.
Water lily. That's a 24-hour bloomer. So once it starts blooming, it will bloom for the next 3 to 5 days, morning and or day and nighttime, which is something that's a brand new. It's called an intersubgeneric water lily. It's a hardy winter hardy, so it'll come back even in Zone 5 Chicago.
Awesome.
And that's one we're actually going to transplant.
Awesome. So these are a couple that Joe and Jenny brought up yesterday. I cannot believe this made a trip. Like it was in a bag, in a tub, and it just like unfurled into this big, beautiful. Yeah, look at this. Never in my life.
Step on them.
I know. Yeah. They could support our weight, I'm sure.
So Laura,
Is that ruffle?
Yeah, that's ruffle, but here's so kind of how you can tell a trout. First of all, the size is one thing, but the serrated edges.
Okay.
And then it's also an unusual trait to have a variegated pad. So those are things that are tropical,
Okay.
but because of the ability to make these intersubgeneric water lilies, they now have, and then also the prolific blooming that are tropical. So you get the hardiness, which is fantastic, of trait of the hardy water lily, and then the beautiful pads and the prolific blooming of a tropical lily.
Awesome.
Combined into one that's called an intersubgeneric winter hardy.
And Greg, do you want to explain again where these came from and how many miles they've traveled?
So these came from Aquatic Oasis Lilies, which is the largest purveyor of water lilies in North America, and he's got over 1,000. It's a guy named Jordan Reese who started 4 years ago, and he's already collected from all over the world over 1,000 varieties of unique lilies.
Dang. So this one's the ruffle. This is the day and night bloomer.
The day and night bloomer.
Awesome.
And it's got purple flowers, and it's all, once again, it's an intersubgeneric winter hardy, so it'll come back even in Zone 5 Chicago. Which
awesome.
Is about as far as you can get it zone-wise.
So also you were explaining to me, like, there's different types of pots. This one isn't like
so the tubers on your hardies, always you want to plant your rhizome all the way on the edge, because it's a long rhizome, where there's more of a deep rhizome with the tropicals and some of the intersubgenerics. So the deeper pots are better for the tropical, the longer, narrower pots. And so we just used, for these pots, we just used a concrete mixer.
Awesome, the little tubs,
But the aquatic plant pots that we're going to put them in are deep enough for the tropicals.
Oh, perfect. So I'm glad this is all on camera, because I'm going to have to watch this back. I'm going to have to watch it back a couple of times to remember. There's Jenny.
Hi.
Jenny from Nature's Waterscapes.
Hi.
You are the sweetest for driving all that way with all of those plants.
My pleasure.
Oh
for you,
my
Laura.
Goodness, this is so amazing.
And we're going to use some nice soil.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the main features, is that we're going to be using this Aquascape potting media, which is the only thing that I would use for the specialty lilies that I plant in these fabric pots, just because I'm particular about, look at that, it smells so good, it looks so good, quality there.
So it's a mixture.
So this is a lot different than the potting soil that you would use in terrestrial plants. It's clay-like, so once it gets wet, it'll clump up, and that's going to eliminate any sediment or loose soil going
like
up
floaters.
to this. Yeah,
No floaters.
You want to make
So
sure
what I like to do when I usually put in one bag in this, and then I put the plant tabs below some of the soil. So put them in a little bit.
Okay.
And
oh, those are interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Aquatic plant tabs, and then I also have, which is in the car, I also have a time release fertilizer.
Okay.
So this is a quick shot of adrenaline, and then I have a slow release fertilizer that only kind of activates when the water gets warm, that will go a whole season. So it's a combination of the two, and I usually put it where the roots aren't touching it, but they can grow to it.
Sure. Okay, while Greg is grabbing the fertilizer out of the car, I'm going to walk over here and show you these beautiful, the rest of these plants that Joe and Jenny brought up here. Because, oh my word, we'll have Jenny give us a little tour of these here in a little bit. We're just kind of gathering ourselves at the moment. But the color and the texture here. Oh, this spider lily, a new bloom today. This one was there yesterday. This one, oh my gosh. That is so pretty. We've got these right here. These are gonna make this just look so full and lush. Look at this. Oh, gorgeous.
So Jenny, you want to come over here and show us like what to do, because we can start pulling stuff apart. Okay. Like if you want us to bare root them and.
Well, one of the main things I like to do is I actually like to keep them in the pots and put them where I have an idea of where I'm going to want to put them before I actually put them in the ground.
All right.
You know, like all things, and just stand back and take a look at it and see, make sure that I'm not blocking any of the highlights. And there's plenty of varieties to choose from. You don't have to use them all. So whatever your preference is on what you want to do. And then from there, then I like to bare root them. So if it's just a handful of them.
Well, let's start with our big ones. It's almost like I'm leaning towards like placing these
dahlia?
almost like we're placing our trees first. So this is the biggest plant we have, so we can figure out where we want these. What depth are these best at? Do they like 8?
Well, these are great for wetland and bog areas.
All right.
So anywhere from like a foot.
A foot?
Yeah, and
All right.
I do like to keep these contained because they will get pretty big.
All right. Well, I'm thinking
And it's already in it.
like from here, like behind that big rock.
Oh yeah.
Kind of screaming
Yep.
for a spot. So let me go drop one of these over there.
It's fun to watch the pros at work. Oh yeah. nice, like nestled.
So this will look nice because that light can hit this rock and these plants in here.
Okay. Just go put a little bit of gravel over there. Oh, that is pretty. Okay, Greg is going to demonstrate how to repot ruffles.
Well, no, ruffles. That's funny. That sounds funny. Repot water lilies,
Yes.
right? But this is how they come from. They come bare rooted. As that's how they ship in them. You know, so the ones that Jenny brought us were not bare rooted.
Right.
But this is typically what we do. And then, oh, gotta open up another bag. So, actually, the proper way to do it is to put down. This is like a Nutricoat. Have you ever heard of Nutricoat?
No.
It's kind of like a time release fertilizer, once a year fertilizer.
Oh.
And I kind of, what I like to do with that is I want the roots to grow down to it.
Okay.
So I want to cover it up with a little bit of soil on top of it. And it only releases, I think, when the water's about 70 degrees.
Okay.
So once a year, you put that in, cover it up with your aquatic plant soil. Actually, a little bit more. Now I want to leave about an inch.
Okay.
So that I can put gravel on top of the roots, on top of the tuber. And then we literally take our dry root. Where did I put it? Oh, right here. We're gonna take our dry root. We'll just kind of pack the soil down a little bit. We'll put it in, fill, and then what I like to do is put these just on the outside. I don't want them touching the roots.
Sure.
Put a little bit more soil on top of that. Cover it up. And then we just put our pea gravel on top of that. And then about an inch of pea gravel on top of that. And then when we put it into the pond, we're going to, you know, slowly submerge it because there's going to be a lot of air left in there. So we don't want it all just rushing out.
Right.
But we'll just cover that up with the gravel on top of it. Now this is Ruffle. So
Yeah.
we have two different hybridizers that have created these ISGs. The Ruffle was created by Matthew Koch out of Madison, Wisconsin, and Tony Moore created the painted pom-pom that we're going to put in here, which has got a beautiful pink flower, and the lily pads are pink and they have white speckles in them. So it's a pretty cool. That was an ISG. That was a International Water Lily and Water Garden Symposium annual winner. It was a pink painted pom-pom from Tony Moore out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and then Madison, Wisconsin. So these people are not in tropical zones that are inventing these things. So between these two, between the painted pom-pom, the Luxor. The Luxor is a really cool plant because it was bred taking the sacred hardy Egyptian blue water lily and breeding it with a hardy lily, and now you have prolific purple flowers. So we've already got the purple flowers from the foxfire, and we're going to have the beautiful dark blue flowers from the ruffle that are 24-hour bloomers, and then you have the painted pom-pom, which will be a white pink flower.
All the colors.
We'll have all the colors.
I love it.
So anyway, this is going to go in the pond, and then the other one, this is that Luxor, but you can see the difference in the size containers.
Yeah.
You know.
That's intense.
Yeah, this is heavy.
You weren't kidding.
Good job.
But look at the length that tuber can grow now.
Yeah. Look
And
at all
so-
the new. Look at these.
Yep, those are all
leaves.
coming, and those will be that beautiful purple flower. So you got two purple flowers in your pond, but what's nice is we can change them out every season. And the foxfire is a tropical, so you said you're going to try to overwinter that in your greenhouse?
Jenny was going to run me through that.
Right. So this is part of the hobby. Is I always like to I treat my tropicals as annuals. I don't have a greenhouse to put them in, but I always go with a different flower, maybe a night bloomer or a different color every single
Fun
year.
to experiment.
It's fun, and then I have my standard hardy lilies that just come back every year, and this is the first year I've ever tried the ISG intersubgeneric 24-hour bloomers like in the ruffle, and I have North Christmas. So I've got a Christmas one that's a red, crimson red.
Cool.
So I get geeked about this.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. I wonder how much those weigh.
I'm gonna weigh about 100 pounds.
Oh.
But this is properly doing a hardy water lily or an intersubgeneric. Is having a container this big. And once a year, adding soil and adding fertilizer, the time release, and then the plant tabs, which are like a quick shot of adrenaline.
Gotcha. Oh.
You're gonna need a bigger pond.
Hey, I know a guy.
Just go up to the rim.
Hey, I can do it.
Good inch plus, and this will also help with the. And if you had bigger koi, we would actually add bigger pebbles on top of that
Okay.
to help them not root around as much. And as long as there's no roots exposed, the koi typically leave it alone. One of the biggest problems that I see though with people with their water lilies is they don't have rock and gravel in the pond. And so the only place for the koi, which are basically carp, to root around in is in the gravel here. If you cover your entire pond of rock and gravel, which this is the service area for bacteria, they tend to leave the lilies alone.
Nice.
Now, if you had a pond that didn't have lilies, there's an exception to every rule, right? And you put a lily in there, the fish are going to start attacking it because they've never seen it before. It's something new. But in a new startup pond, you put in a rock and gravel filled pond, you put in lilies, you'll have no problem with your koi if you got them to root around in. If there's nothing for them to root around in, they're going to go right here with their barbells, you know, their whiskers. All right, so that's good.
Wow.
So now we're ready
Easy
for
enough?
Yeah. Okay, so we have already. So this is interesting. So we already have the NutriCoat that we put in, which is once a year. But then this is a stick form. That is another option as well to put right in there.
Oh, nice.
And once again, I don't want it touching the roots. I
Right.
want it to where the roots can grow to it.
Yep.
This is always the fun part.
Yeah.
It's like the decorations on the Christmas tree. Alrighty. So the tuber, the top of the lily should be between 12 and 16 inches below the surface, ideally. A foot to 16 inches, typically. Now the nice thing too, as they start growing, you can move these around.
How old is this one, would you say?
Well, they started cultivating them last spring, so it's only a couple months. And the bigger space it has to grow it, the bigger it's going to get. I told you it'll get about 15 to 20 feet span.
15 to 20 foot span on that one. That is going to provide some amazing shade for the koi.
Yes, it will. Protection
Yeah.
from predators, shade, and it'll also reduce your algae because you're not going to have so much sunlight coming
Right,
into the
sure.
water.
So this is exactly how you would do it in a pond, as Jenny's doing right now. But I use a little broom handle to just push down, make a hole, and then she's just using her fingers, and then push the tabs down. Once again, ideally not right up against the root, but where the roots will grow to it within, you know, a week or two. And this is like a shot of adrenaline, you know, with these plants. And I do this every couple weeks in my pond in season because then you get more prolific bloomers. The blooming is what really takes the energy out of it. So it's good to have these. And then the time release fertilizer every spring.
So you'd say like May through September?
Yes, depending on where you're at.
Sure.
You know, but every couple weeks I just go in there and I deadhead some of the plants.
Okay.
Put a couple lily tabs in there, and we're good to go.
Nice.
Okay, so let's add the gravel now on top.
Sure.
And a little trick. I always put the smaller stuff, and then I cover it with also some of the gravel from the pond, so it blends in. You don't see it.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah.
some of the bigger gravel as well.
And it also looks prettier because your water's going to be nice and clear.
Here you can actually see from this leaf some of the fleckled pink.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's the painted pom-pom from Tony Moore out of Cincinnati. So this is a bare root plant and as more of a hardy, and that's a tropical. Now this plant, this will get three times this size, but it will never get to that size. That's a pure tropical. This is an ISG, intersubgeneric.
Nice.
The tropicals are going to have the serrated edges, and then they have some deeper veins on the bottom. You see
My
there?
word, yes. These will make some cool like stepping stone, like the the ones they use the leaves for. To shape them up.
And so these are the new ones, so they'll come out coiled up before they
Unfurl.
flat. Yeah. And you'll get a sign for when they're done blooming because the stem will coil.
Okay.
So it still has a little bit of life in
A
it.
little bit of life.
Okay, we're ready to carry this out.
I love the pot. Jenny, that is a beautiful plant. Thank you. And that's all the lilies that your pond could fit. This is why we always tell people it's go bigger than they think. The number one complaint 32 years ago when I started my business was my pond isn't big enough because they get into the hobby, the fish and the plants, and of course they want more. They don't want to get rid of their fish because they're their pets, and then they find new and unique plants that they want to use in their pond. And so we always encourage people to build the first pond. The average person gets 3 water features: big, bigger, biggest, good, better, best. And we always try to encourage them to save up. 11 foot by 16 foot is really about the minimum size that you want for a hobbyist. 11 foot by 16 foot. And I don't even know how big this one is, but it's 3 times that size. Yeah, 11 by 16. But look at how phenomenal that plant is. That's a properly fertilized planted plant right there. Tropical.
We have arrived. Let's find Ron. There's Ron right down there.
We're gonna get a sign put up.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
In a week from now.
Of course, right?
It's been on. You know, everything takes so long now.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's so busy.
Right.
Like this.
Oh, look at this gallery wall.
This is some of the work we've done. My wife's gonna do the whole inside with a bunch of different stuff, so people can kind of see and get ideas.
That's a
like,
great idea. Yeah. Oh.
Of course, this is not done. We'll finish up like fronts over here.
Sure, yep.
Stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
We're eventually
Okay.
going to have a big wood fence back there so it blocks the
Oh,
bathroom
that's a
doors.
great idea,
It
yeah.
also gives the impression like what it would look like in a backyard but against someone's fence.
Sure.
So people who have smaller yards could do stuff like that.
Oh, love these steps too. That's beautiful.
That's a banded high-fin shark.
Banded high-fin shark.
Yeah. We're going to take that. Those actually get big.
Really?
Yeah, and they'll live with the koi. They can take the cold water. I have 2 of them in my pond, and they'll get up to 3 to 4 feet.
Oh my word. Whoa, look at that.
This is the scaleless one we've talked
This is
about. They look like they're painted, you know?
Oh, yeah. Look how beautiful. And sparkly.
Edging, yeah. Like a nice white on
Do
that.
they bite? Does fish bite?
No.
They'll suck on your fingers.
Yeah,
Bud.
when they get big and you've had them for a couple of years, you know, after a while they get used to it. Because they know when I feed my fish in my pond, they know me versus somebody else walking up. They're a lot more comfortable coming up to me versus if 2 or 3 are just standing there and they don't know. They kind of will stay back. But if I'm just by myself, they'll come up to the surface and want to eat right out of your hands.
I just want to let them swim like a floaty.
Because they live a long time. You'll have this fish when you're your mommy's age.
So life expectancy, what's the
I think they say
average?
the average is like 30, 40 years, but they can live a lot longer than that in right, you know, genetics and right conditions.
Sure.
So they're at, you know, at the minimum, unless they die of some disease or whatever,
Sure, yeah.
they use at least a 20-year fish.
Wow.
So many people I don't know who do.
Isn't this fun going to a fish store?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't say that I've ever stood around tanks of fish like this. I mean, this is really cool.
These are Japanese imports, right? Right?
Yes, like
Yeah.
90% of these are Japanese.
Yeah. So I mean, you have a plenty big pond, over filtration, but you might start off with a half a dozen fish or so.
Okay.
You know. So you want to select some with Benjamin?
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh! Where did you get that from?
I forget where I ordered that from.
Well, that is a huge. Are you gonna get one for their pond?
That's the one that's one in their pond.
I know. I'm so excited.
Jealous! You're getting a banded high-fin shark. Those things are phenomenal if you can find them at eating string algae. So remember how we were talking about a pond is like a puppy, and so you're going to get some string algae because you're going to have nutrients in the water. The plants aren't going to be fully grown yet. The ecosystem isn't going to be stopped. But you get a fish like that, it will just be. It's like a lawnmower eating the. That's a beautiful fish. Yeah. You got some nice looking fish here.
Yeah, and they get big. They get big.
They will get because they eat algae. So that's a super cool fish.
That is great.
All right, I'm jealous. I'm officially jealous. All right, so let's get this guy, Benjamin. He's trying to catch him with the bowl.
Yeah.
Hey,
He'd be at it for a while.
buddy, why don't you catch that fish with this net?
Be very gentle, sweetie, okay?
That one right there with the big fins.
I got 2 of them in my pond.
Oh, nope. Go a little bit that way. Yeah, you got it. Now go straight up. Look at it. Go in the bowl. You are one lucky pond owner. You are getting a banded high-fin shark. You have a shark in your pond, dude.
And if a fish can be cute, they're actually cute. I think they're cute.
They're
If a fish can be
really
cute.
interesting.
I think they're cool looking. I don't know if I'd use the word cute, but
They're
that is
very
a cool looking fish. That is sweet. And
That
like
is
I
really
said,
fun.
it's part of the ecosystem. You're leaving straight from here to go home, right?
Yeah.
You're fine. So normally you put more oxygen in the water. When we ship these from Japan, when they get them from Japan, it's 2/3 oxygen, 1/3 water.
Okay.
And that water sloshing around will actually oxygenate the water. So people say, how do you get fish from Japan? In a box.
Oh.
You know, they
Yeah.
ship them in boxes and they put them on air freight and they ship them over here, but it's mostly oxygen because that's what runs out. So these can go right in your pond, float them for a half an hour.
Okay.
Let the water temperature equalize and then just let them in slowly and then.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. There is your banded high-fin shark.
Oh, so cool.
Okay.
I think he's got some good potential. He's got a little bit of a tancho. I believe it's called a goshiki. I don't know if I always say that right.
Goshiki koi?
Should we get that one?
He's young. I think he's maybe just 2 years old, so he still has some growth, but I think that will get blacker. you never know.
My goodness.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yes.
Yeah, and at least I had a little bit of a brown spot on his face. See how that develops?
All right, let's bag them up. So that'll be the biggest one. The coolest one is the banded high-fin shark. But welcome to living the aquascape lifestyle, which is the fish and the plants and the whole nature thing.
Love it. Boom.
This is how I make money. I sell the products to build water features.
Yep.
So my goal with building you a water feature is that you're showing people how to live the aquascape lifestyle. And Aquascape is the only manufacturer of pond equipment and products in the world that builds ponds. So we create stuff as hobbyists ourselves we would want to use.
Right.
But look at this. This just shows you the art. Now this is actual, people think, oh, this is art. We're with water and stone. But I mean, he carved that.
Whoa.
Found that log and then carved that. It took him 12 hours to do that. I think this is beautiful.
That is amazing.
Yeah. But you saw this is filtered exactly the same way yours are with a snorkel centipede and aqua blocks.
Yep.
That's your wetland filter, just
Right.
indoors, above grade versus below outside.
That's amazing.
Hey,
I was
Yes.
showing her earlier that I left this corner out on purpose so you could show, or I could show people,
oh, how the aqua blocks work.
how it comes up, the water percolates through, and then the rocks. And usually, ideally, we'd have thicker rock.
There's no better filter because of sheer horsepower. And this works with Mother Nature. It's the same way God invented wetlands to filter water. This is basically the technology we use, where the paradigm shift that Aquascape committed, everybody was trying to filter dirty water, and we wanted to build beautiful water features that happen to have clear water. So we went with the back to nature, the way Mother Nature does it. And I don't think you can beat a wetland filter in terms of efficiency. You can see how clear that water is from that.
Yeah.
And you're about to learn it yourself.
Yeah.
It's super clear, and that's actually got water moving in there, and it's, see the current
Yep,
going
I
out
can
of it, but
see
it
it
doesn't
going
really
out.
look like it because
Right.
it's spread out and it's just trickling in.
Pristine. That's just amazing. Oh, look at that.
We're gonna try
Oh,
getting another
pretty.
one over here.
Listen to that sound.
That is a nice sound. And you know what I do appreciate about this too is that it doesn't splatter everywhere.
No.
Yeah,
Figured out opposed.
I'm not opposed. I've learned to trust.
You really, really have.
I've
You
come-
are 1,000 times more
Amenable.
amenable the second time.
Quiet one. And we got a shark in here. Oh my gosh. It's okay though. We can still do it. We'll be able to fish now. Oh! So 30 minutes?
The fish are back. You can see that they're still floating in their bags here. We're letting them acclimate to the water temperature in here. But since it's full sun, we're not going to usually want to do it for about 30 minutes. We're just going to do it for about 10, and then we will release them into the water. I bet they want out, huh? They're going to be so happy. Oh! There he goes. Oh my. Oh, cool. All right, guys, so we are just going to sit around here, enjoy the pond before everybody has to take off here in the next hour or two. And then what I'm going to do is I'll probably come out tomorrow morning first thing because it's nice and protected from the sun. And we'll do a little walkthrough tour and we'll take more of a close look at the whole pond structure and all of that. So we will see you guys in the morning. All right, guys, it is a new day. I think where we left off yesterday was right after the fish were put in the pond. Everybody was only going to be here for a short amount of time after that, so I just wanted to be able to enjoy time with them. So this morning, I mean, it's gorgeous out here in the morning before the sun gets up over that tree right there. It's just cool. Sound of the water. Oh, it's perfection. One of my favorite things is the walk into this area. I'm gonna back all the way up. And while I think I'm gonna skip the tour of doing all the individual plants until later on today, because you can see that Aaron and Bethany had a chance to run drip to everything, but we're gonna work on mulching the whole thing today. So I think it'll look really nice and tidy. But how they did that is 1/2-inch black poly, individual emitters popped right in line right here for each individual plant so that we're not watering any other area other than where the root balls are. And you can see they all had a very nice drink yesterday. Hey Russell, what do you think of the pond, buddy? Anyway, the walkway is just this kind of slow meandering path up to the pond. I love that Brian brought the berms all the way out here because it makes the whole space feel like it's been here forever. And it also gives sense to the pond and the levels, you know, the different levels around the pond, so that it doesn't look like a pond's just kind of popping up out of the ground, out of nowhere. It looks like it's naturally formed into the curvature of this space. So I haven't had a chance to hose these rocks off yet. I was able to reach those last night with the hose I was using, but it wouldn't reach this far. So that's part of today's project, is just to kind of tidy up, cover some of our powdery dirt with some nice compost. But oh, I just love it. Let's take a look at the water here. Oh yeah, it's looking much, much, much more clear. You can see right down to the bottom. Oh, there's the fish. There they are. I don't know if you can see them. Oh, that's so exciting. There's one sort of larger koi, and then the other ones are a little bit smaller, and they haven't fully developed their color. Like, the color develops as they grow. But a couple of them have a lot of white, so you can really see them down there at the bottom. I can't wait for them to get more comfortable with us so we can start to feed them right at the edge. So again, you guys, we are going to be putting in flagstones right here. So we're going to actually dig out, put in a gravel base, and we're going to do flagstones that will come out over the edge just by about an inch. So you won't see any of these blocks when we're all done. It'll all be a cohesive looking space. We just put compost down in the meantime so that you could see a distinctive line between where the walkways and the patio was versus the berms and the flower beds. And we'll also be putting in a couple of steps right here, and we'll cut in to this berm. And so this walkway will go up, and it's gonna kind of curve, like hug the base of this berm right here. I hope this is making sense. And then it will come out lining up with the walkway that's coming from the Hartley. And the walkway coming in from the way we just came, and then this one right here, will be flagstone as well. But I want to keep just a little kind of mulched, like bark mulch footpath around the pond. Like right in here, it just feels natural to be able to walk up here and, you know, either get in, put your feet in, or feed the fish. Same with right around in here. We have a few plants placed here and there, but I want to be able to come in at different areas and be able to sit, you know, on that great big beautiful log, or come down and tend to the plants right there. Oh, it's just a phenomenal, phenomenal design. I love it. And like I said, we'll go through all the plants later on, but I do want to say that those grasses right up there were the favorite. I'm gonna walk over there. All of these black tubes will be covered up later today. See, this was the problem. We were watering with the hose and it just like kept wanting to go down. So we thought, well, priority is getting these plants dripped in and happy so that they're watered consistently and we won't have this. When you have a drip system, it drips slow enough to where it has a chance to get down into the soil. It has a chance to soak in, as opposed to, you know, you put a hose going at full, well, even like half strength, it's still going to want to, it doesn't have a chance to soak in, it rolls off. All right, Douglas. What are you doing? Away from my feet. The blue grama grass. It's called Blonde Ambition is the variety. And I'm telling you what, I mean, this is about its full height. It gets about 3 feet tall, 3 feet wide. And we wanted something to, well, one, we wanted something big right behind it to anchor this rock. And there's also I think that's Hedgerow's Gold Dogwood, which gets 10 feet. So that will fill in this area like real well. But the grass, we wanted something below it that was bulky enough to kind of balance it, but also wispy enough to where you could still see it back here. So yeah, I'm really excited about this grass. I think it's beautiful. And when the light gets a little bit higher in this tree, it comes through and shines on these seed heads, and it looks like a halo above the waterfall right here. Okay, so what I want to do right now, because it's so beautiful out here, I just want to take a seat on one of the rocks over here, and I want to share with you all of the people who came to help with this project, because you guys, they volunteered to come here. They sacrificed time out of their own schedules to like fly in from all over the country to come and work on this project together. And this team has done many collaborations much like this one before together, and they love working on projects like this, which was really awesome for us. And it was such a beautiful time. And Douglas this whole time has been swiping at my feet. You want to know something, Douglas? You got to check your attitude, dude. All right, Aaron set the camera up for us so that I am still in the frame, but you can mostly see the waterfall back behind me because it's so beautiful. I can't even believe we're sitting here and I'm hearing that. And you know, there is an interstate, not like super close to us, but it's positioned down the hill. And so a lot of that like faint car noise travels up to the top of this hill, and this totally drowns it out. It's amazing. I didn't even think about that. Added bonus. First of all of the people that came that I'm about ready to talk about, okay, now Douglas is up in my business. Okay, hey dude. We'll link all of their social medias down below this video. Many of them have YouTube channels that include showing builds just like this or similar to this. And it shows the builds coming together, as well as a lot of education on pond building and pond plants and all of the pond related things. All of them have Instagram accounts, Facebook. Anyway, we'll link all of that down below. We'll also link Aquascapes website, because this is an aquascape ecosystem pond. And it's got a lot of education about what this type of pond is. These are a chemical-free pond. They use natural bacteria and lots of amazing filtration to keep things very low maintenance, chemical free, and just like an ecosystem. Everybody I'm listing here, they're all certified Aquascape contractors. And if you go to the Aquascape website, you can find a CAC is what they call them. You can find one that might be near you if you're interested in installing something similar to this. So first of all, Greg Wittstock, who is the owner of Aquascape, he's been doing this for so long. Like, I can't remember what age he said he was when he built his first pond, but he was young. And it's just been this evolving process that has grown and grown and built and built. And we've had a chance to get to know him over the years. And you know, they put in that pondless waterfall for us that we are going to be putting back in. That was in 2019 or 2020? I can't remember. Maybe it was 2020. Anyway, it was gorgeous. And so that was such a great experience for me. I mean, I could talk an hour about my experience working with the Aquascape team and how seamless it is, and how I've learned to like kind of release. Like, I think I was pretty hands off with this project in terms of the pond design, the how it came together. I kind of just relied on Brian, who is Greg's head designer builder, and Greg has done lots of collaborations. We just happen to be the lucky recipients of this one. You know, all of the people that came here, it was like I said, they donated their time, and they flew in themselves to do this project. And they do this like 3-4 times a year. They do a collaboration project together, much like this one. So anyway, it's just amazing to see what kind of community he's built around him. The team that was here was like, I don't know what, you know, when you work with people and things just jive. Like, there's a piece about what everybody's doing. There's no competitiveness. There's no ego or anything like that. It's just like everybody's working together and having a great time, even though they're all working kind of in the same space. It's a really neat thing to see. And then there's Brian Helfrich, who we've worked with on our past project and on this one. And it's fun just to kind of like let him loose and let him do his thing. And not only is he coming up with the design and like letting it evolve as it happens, like in real time, but he is just a worker. He gets in there and he just beasts through projects, and it's a really fun thing to watch. But I think that he has a real sense of what the person will want, what they want to get from that pond. Like, he knew that, you know, me being a plant lover, I would want a lot of space in this pond to work with pond plants. So while they usually leave like an 8 or 10 inch shelf around the edge of a pond, you know, to sink some pond plants in, he left me like feet in multiple different areas so that I would have a lot of opportunity to work with plants. And he's just a really fun, nice guy to be around. And then a couple of other people from the Aquascape team were here, Amanda and Mary. Amanda was the gal who just made everything work well. She had everything organized, like made sure that we had proper meals at all the proper times, that we had cold drinks, that everybody had what they needed, that everything was just, it worked like perfection. And that is so important to keep a team like this who, like, they don't have time to focus on details. They're just in here doing the big heavy lifting. So Amanda was amazing. She also was amazing with our kids. She just got in the pond and played with them, and it was just really fun to see. And so did Mary. Mary is their social media gal, who was she's working hard the whole time. I mean, holding up cameras the whole time. I mean, we were all out here kind of it was so much going on. We didn't even know what should we be filming at this moment, because there's so many interesting little pieces and you can't get everything all at one time. But she was just everywhere, all around, and so sweet and pleasant, and also swam with Benjamin a couple of times for a long time. And then we had a team from the Seattle, Washington area called Mark the Pond Guy, and they have a YouTube channel. It was Dan, Heather, and Antonio who came down, and oh my gosh, Dan was in that excavator just rolling. I mean, that was the thing. I mean, we had big equipment in here and a lot of people, and you can just tell that people have been doing this for a very long time because they're so good at it. Antonio was around doing all kinds of stuff, heavy lifting. You could see him just pitching in wherever anybody needed anything. That's the thing. All of these people were watching everybody else and just like kind of anticipating what the other person would need. And I just saw Antonio all over the place. And Heather was out filming, you know, capturing the process for their channel. Their video has not come out yet. I'm really excited to see it. The next company is Green Source Landscaping. They're out of Caldwell, Idaho. So they are our local go-to people to come help us with this pond. If we have any issues or have any questions, they're there for us. In fact, Chris Schriner is the owner, and he's just this, like, the most happy person to be around. You can hear his laugh. You know, wherever you're out in the property, you can hear where Chris is at because he's just like cutting up and having a good time with everybody here. And he really listens to what your questions are, what your concerns are, and really, I don't know, you know those type of people who you feel like are sincerely wanting to make sure that you are happy with the results, that you like, you know, what you're seeing, that you feel comfortable with everything about it. He's that type of person. He also brought all of the rock for this project, which is phenomenal. He picked it out at Strickland Stone, which is a local rock yard, and they were super accommodating as well. They actually had to pull a guy off of another job because we needed, like, kind of last minute some more boulders, and they made it happen. But Chris organized all of that, had all of it here, and he's just real fun to be around. So I'm excited to work with him going forward. He will be the one that comes back and installs our pondless waterfall once we're ready for that. And then there's Idaho Oasis. The owner is Ron and his really sweet wife Rebecca, who was able to come out here for dinner one of the nights. They have opened this business just recently, like in the last few years. Anyway, Ron has a really neat shop. It's indoor, where he's got this big pond set up in there that he had sand put on the bottom so his daughter could get in there and like play and be really have a good time. And that is where we went to go get our koi and the little shark. We have a high fin band shark in there. They eat string algae. I'm learning so much. Anyway, that's where we went. But he was here working hard during the whole build as well. He worked on the block retaining wall that we get to put our feet over right at the edge here. I mean, very precision work. So it was really fun to get to know him and his wife, and just we have another local contact. So when I need koi supplies, when I need that sort of thing, and they've got pond plants as well, I'm gonna go over there. And then there's Alan and Jody from Decker's Pondscapes in New York. And I've been really enjoying following their reels. They put out a lot of reels of current projects they're working on. And oh my gosh, can Alan work. He was just, I mean, in here setting these great big stones and just working hard all day. And Jody said he's always like this. Just always go, 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 and hard working. And it was really fun to watch. It was fun to watch. Jody and I, we were doing a lot of filming, but we got to chat a lot and get to know each other, and that was so sweet. You really create a lot of friendships, a lot of really fun relationships through projects like this. And then from Knoxville, Tennessee, there's John Adams, who has Modern Design Aquascaping. And John, I have your hat, by the way. If you don't see it arrive at your doorstep before this video comes out, it's gonna be on its way. But John is just a super sweet guy, really interesting to talk to. A lot of these people have been all over the place, and I really enjoyed talking with him about his travels to Japan. He gets really into, he loves specimen evergreens, so it was fun. It was fun when we were placing plants to see which ones he was drawn to, but he really likes carnivorous plants. So he installed, in fact, Ron from Idaho Oasis brought some pitcher plants from his own pond, and John installed them in one little nook here in the pond, and it was just really fun to see pictures of, he's got a grotto at his home. Yeah, get on to social, follow all these people so you can see what they've done, but he's got this really neat grotto that, like, it looks like it's raining inside, and the walls are all like ferns and moss, and you're like wading in there in a pond to be in this. There's like little rock seating. He's just kind of the type of guy that makes you realize the small things in life that are really sweet and meaningful, and how family is number one. You can tell he loves his family, and that's why a lot of these people do what they they do, because it really does change how you use your space and how your family can spend time together. And he loves his grandkids. He loves having them over and seeing them play in the pond, and it's just a really sweet conversations I was able to have with John. And then from Pennsylvania, we have Franco, who has the Garden Nation. That's his name on Instagram. And I told him, Franco, like everywhere I'm filming, I feel like that's where you are. Like you move, how are you in all the spaces all at once? He was working on rock placement, helping with liner, helping with moving soil for the berms, raking, installing plants. I mean, just whatever needed to be done, he was just buzzing all over the place to get it done. And he's got a real fun personality that you can joke with. And I imagine the type that would bring levity to any situation. So it was real fun to get to know him. And then from not too far away from us, like Bend, Oregon area, that's Central Oregon, there's Neathery Landscape. The owner is Luke. He brought over his excavator, put it on a trailer, and drove it all the way over here for this project, which made everything go twice as fast. So he was up there operating that thing, moving rocks around, and just watching these guys. It's like a dance, you know, moving these things around. Everybody's just working in this super symbiotic relationship. Like everything just works well, even with the big machines. Amazing. And then all the way from Texas, there's Bill, who has Brothers Water Gardens. I was looking at his Instagram. He's done some beautiful builds, but he's just a hard worker, super nice guy. Moving stuff around, setting rocks, just getting in there and getting things done. And then another local company called Eco Lake out of Boise, Idaho. Owner is Brandon, and he had a couple of his guys helping out, Danny and Keith, and they were helping with whatever needed to be done. Moving rocks. You know, there are a lot of moving rocks going on around here, moving dirt. They did a lot of planting. He brought the holding tanks. So we had these blue holding tanks for the pond plants, and he brought those over, got those set up. It was just everybody pitching in with what they had to help get this project done. And I think I forgot to mention with Idaho Oasis, there was a couple of his guys, Dalton and Andrew, who were amazing help. So shout out to them as well. There was just so many people here helping with this project. And I don't think oh, there is one more. Okay, so one of the days Greg said, I have a surprise coming for you this evening. And I thought, well, what other kind of surprise, like what can you add to this to make it more awesome? Well, pond plants. Pond plants makes it more awesome. And Joe and Jenny from Nature's Waterscapes in Southern California, that day they started out early, like in the wee hours of the morning, driving. They drove all day long, all the way up California, up here to Eastern Oregon, with a car full of pond plants. They brought the most beautiful lilies, a bunch of different, just a whole bunch of different varieties. Jenny went through all the names, and she left tags. I'm gonna have to go through and look at all of them again, because, you know, it was a lot to take in. But the effort that people went through to get here and to do those sorts of things and be part of this project, it was amazing. There was a couple of days where I was standing back, just watching all of these people going for it, and just like having fun and laughing and chatting. And I just thought, I can't believe that this is happening, one in our garden space, because I never imagined it happening. And like all of these people traveling on their own to come here and be a part of this project when they could have done something else. You know, they could have stayed close to home and done something that was, you know, I don't know, possibly easier, less effort, whatever the case may be, but they chose to travel here and do this project. And that really means a tremendous amount to me. So all of the people that I just mentioned here, thank you. Thank you for being here and doing this. Thank you to everybody who is watching this and so encouraging and so excited about this project. I told the whole team, I'm like, you guys wouldn't believe like the buzz about this project. Like everybody is so excited to see how this comes together. They're happy for us to have this here, and just like genuine excitement and happiness is just amazing. I think we're getting sun again, but I've talked for so long, you guys. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure that I had a chance to sit down and really thank everybody that helped with this project and give them a shout out. Again, all of their socials will be linked down below. And just the whole experience, Aaron and I were talking about it last night, because, you know, everybody left about mid-afternoon yesterday. So we had a chance to kind of like sit and reflect. And I know the sun is kind of like coming out again. Woo! There. Kind of like block it right there. You know what? I'm gonna change cameras. Okay, that's better. I think we have a few more minutes before it comes over the tree completely. But anyway, Aaron and I were chatting last night, reflecting on the whole experience, and it was almost kind of sad when everybody left, because it was so fun. Oh, you're running on this high for several days, and you're just creating these really fun relationships that when everybody has to go home, it's like, oh, so sad. But look what they left behind. I mean, this is years and years and years and forever years of enjoyment right here. The kids love it. They beg to come out here and get in the water. And this is gonna be a 4-season area, you guys, because I did order some Adirondack chairs that we're gonna put in this little area here. I think I'll get us a little fire bowl. So even in the winter time, if we wanna come out here, because we'll keep this running and it'll just kind of ice up, on days that are a little bit nicer in the winter, we can come out and enjoy a little fire by the pond. I think it's just gonna be so amazing. And we'll just continue developing the garden. So the goal in the end is to have the whole berm, you know, the whole berm we're looking at here, completely full to where you don't really see the other part of the yard. This is going to be a very secret, like it's a secret garden, like the secret wooded garden. I want it to feel very cozy and private back in here. And like you can come here just for like absolute peace and serenity. So anyway, that's probably what you will see next. You'll see the compost come in here, and then we'll just start plugging away at the area like we do the other parts. I'm gonna have to turn my attention to some other parts of the garden here just because I haven't been able to work on it for the last few days. So anyway, you'll see more and more planting things go on in here, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, the whole series of videos. I know that's a lot of pond videos all in a row, but we really wanted to make sure we were bringing you along as quickly as possible for all the steps of this pond. And while it's not like we didn't really want to do you know, here's a blank slate and then here's a grand reveal, we really wanted to show you day by day, this is what we're getting done, so you could see in real time like how things were going down. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.